This is the story of a girl no one believed in, a man who had everything but trust, and one night that changed the lives of everyone in the room. Michael Caine was the name every major business magazine knew. At just 35, he was already the CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the world. He had money, fame, power, but not peace. Especially not tonight. Tonight was her night. Cassandra Blake's charity gala. His ex-fiancée. The one who left him 3 years ago for a European prince. The same woman who once whispered in his ear, "You're brilliant, Michael, but you're not one of us." The truth was, it wasn't just about love. For Cassandra, it was about image. Legacy. Bloodlines. Michael was the self-made outsider in a world of polished heirs and Ivy League legacies. And now she had invited him to her gala, almost as if daring him to show up alone. Everyone expected him to be there. Alone. Quiet. Defeated. But he wasn't going alone. 2 days before the gala, Michael stopped at a corner cafe during lunch. His assistant was late. It was raining. The city felt gray. He stood waiting, sipping his espresso when his eyes landed on a girl behind the counter, flustered, soaking wet from the delivery she had just made, hair in a messy bun, apron stained with coffee, but smiling at every customer with a warmth that cut through the cold. Her name was Lila Hart. She was no one, really. Grew up in foster care. Middle of 5 siblings. No fancy degrees. She worked 3 jobs to help pay for her little sister's school. She never wore makeup, and her wardrobe was whatever she could afford at the thrift store. But there was something about her that intrigued Michael. Maybe it was how she laughed with her coworkers, even after being scolded by a customer. Maybe it was the kindness in her eyes. Or maybe he was just tired of pretending. Without thinking too hard, he walked up to her. "Would you be interested in attending a black-tie gala with me this Friday?" She blinked. "Excuse me? I'll pay you for your time. You'll wear a gown. Be my date. You'll have dinner, dance, and we leave. That's it." She studied his face. "You're serious?" He nodded. "Very." After a pause, she smiled slowly. "Okay then. Why not?" The transformation wasn't like in the movies. There was no fairy godmother. Just Michael's stylist, a sweet French woman named Elise who cried when she saw Lila in the final dress. It was a deep emerald green satin gown, off-shoulder, hugging her figure just right. Her curly hair fell down her back in soft waves. No heavy makeup. Just a touch of color on her lips and eyes that already told 1,000 stories. When Michael saw her that night before stepping into the limo, he was speechless. "You clean up okay?" she teased. He laughed, almost nervously. You look like you were born for this." She shrugged. "Guess I was just waiting for the right moment." The moment they entered the ballroom, silence fell. Heads turned. Champagne glasses froze mid-air. Even Cassandra, standing at the far end in a custom gold gown, did a double-take. Her smug smile vanished. Michael walked with Lila on his arm, his posture straight, confident, but Lila's presence did something unexpected. She didn't just follow him like an accessory. She glowed. She smiled at strangers. She complimented the staff. She listened. Really listened. And soon, people weren't whispering about Michael Caine's mystery date. They were listening to her. An heiress complimented her dress. Lila said it was a borrowed one. They laughed. A politician's wife asked her which school she went to. Lila replied, "The School of Life," and shared a quick story about working 3 jobs and reading books on her lunch breaks. Even Cassandra, unable to bear the attention Lila was getting, walked over with a champagne glass. "I don't think we've met," she said, smiling that razor-edged smile. "You're Lila." "Just Lila." Cassandra tilted her head. "And what do you do, just Lila?" "I make coffee. And sometimes, I help CEOs make their exes jealous." Cassandra's smile cracked. Michael couldn't help it. He laughed. By the end of the night, Lila had danced with 2 ambassadors, made friends with a fashion designer who offered her an internship, and left every guest charmed. But what changed everything wasn't just what happened inside. It was outside, in the limo, when Lila said softly, "You don't need to pretend, Michael." He looked at her. "What do you mean? You weren't trying to prove anything to Cassandra tonight. You just wanted to be seen by someone who didn't already judge you." He didn't speak. The silence said everything. Then she added, "You didn't pick me randomly. You picked me because somewhere inside, you're tired of the world that made you feel like an outsider. Even after you built your own." He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in a long while, he felt understood. Michael offered Lila a job at his company the next week, not out of pity, but because she had insight, boldness, and emotional intelligence none of his Harvard graduate team could match. Within months, she was leading a community outreach program that brought underprivileged kids into tech training. She became more than a face in a crowd. She became a voice. And Michael? He stopped pretending. Together, they weren't just a CEO and a coffee girl. They were proof that class didn't define brilliance, kindness outshone beauty, and being not one of them was actually a superpower. In the end, the girl who wasn't invited to the table became the one everyone wanted to listen to. And the man who was once told he'd never belong found the only place he ever needed to be, beside someone who saw the truth beneath the suit.